Hey there, horror movie tea sippers.
The following podcast will contain spoilers for the movie we are about to review. If you have not seen the movie and do not wish to have anything ruined prematurely, then please do not continue to listen until after you have seen the movie.
And welcome to the Horror Movie Tea podcast. Man, I wish you guys could see how we started to try and record. It was amazing, but I'm not going to show it.
Every other time.
Just so that way it's out of context and it leaves you confused. But anyways, today we are covering the movie Z. Just the letter Z or Z.
Pretty sure it's a Netflix original. Came out this year, so fairly new.
Yes.
But yes.
But what tea are you drinking today?
I am drinking Bigelow's Perfect Peach tea.
Ooh. That sounds
It's like
good.
a nice hit of summer.
That sounds really good.
Yes. It is an herbal tea, so there's no caffeine or anything, but it's very fruity and very nice. It's kind of refreshing.
Mm-hmm. That sounds refreshing. I needed caffeine today. Like, I'm amazed I'm functioning as well as I am without caffeine right now. But anyways, I am drinking...
I'm gonna need a hit later.
Yet again, brutalities. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just addicted to this tea.
Obsessed.
But I'm drinking the Lychee trick, I think they called it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's got like green tea, apple, obviously lychee, and I can't remember the other stuff. But it's a lot of good stuff. That's all I know.
Wow.
I'm sorry in advance, guys. We might be having some giggle fits. I don't know. It's been a day.
Today has been weird. Like, we had a massive storm come through the area, and you can tell by the blinds it's bright out now. But it was just a big storm. Lots of thunder, lots of lightning strikes in the area, and it was raining pretty heavily. Some of our neighbors actually reported almost 7 inches of rain. It's a good deal of rain. So it was a little crazy, and we had some technical difficulties trying to
we had a lot of
running, and things were not working right. So, I mean, you're kind of lucky this is happening at all at this point.
Yeah.
This is fine.
Yeah. But anyways, movie. All right, so this family,
it's gonna be a day, guys.
Yep, just relax, enjoy the show, and hopefully you'll be just as entertained as we're entertaining ourselves.
Hopefully we'll be mostly coherent. This is fine.
Yes, we shall see.
So Z.
Yes. Okay, so this family, mother, dad, son, all live together in this really gigantic house, but that's not relevant.
I kind of want to know what they do. Like, the dad looks like an architect, just from some of the scenes that we go through.
Yeah, something along those lines. Or an engineer.
But she, never does anything. She seems to be a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what firm he works at, but damn.
Yeah. But anyways,
well,
we need to try and stay focused here. Mm-hmm. All right, so the son starts having an imaginary friend, though we'll talk about, I'm going to save that comment for later. But anyways, starts having an imaginary friend, and he is calling him Z. And at first, the parents are like, this is, just your typical imaginary friend. But the mother starts noticing some weird things. At first, she sees some glowing eyes, which you find out later in the scene, it's just a toy truck. But Train. Okay, thank you. But it really starts hitting her once, first the son gets suspended for just behavior issues. and multiple behavior issues. And then she takes her son to a inside playground, and he's in one of the tubes, and he's like, "Watch me, Mom." And then as he's going, she sees this demonic looking figure following closely behind her son, and it just kind of hits her that something is majorly off.
Yeah, honestly, it looks almost like a naked man.
Yeah, it's a naked man with like fangs.
A very thin, naked man looking figure crawling after him. That's really, really freaky. You only see it for like a second.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to really get too much on there. But then you hear him screaming. Yeah.
But which the son ended up like tricking the mom that he was hurt. But anyways, so the mother finds out that Z is actually an imaginary friend that she created. And his ultimate goal is to be with her forever. And yeah, we'll get into the nitty gritty, but at least there's a summary for those who have seen it and just need a quick refresher. Or
they're tormented by the kid's imaginary friend, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, or those who have not seen it, you might want to watch this.
Please watch it. Please.
Before you move on. But anyways, entertainment scale. I would rate this movie. I would probably say a 6. Like, it's a very solid 6 for me. It's a hesitant 7, but I don't know. I think it deserves a 6.
Yeah. I wholeheartely agree. Solid 6, very, very tentative 7, maybe a 6.5. It's pretty good. The animation could be a little bit better. They could draw out some of the spoops a little bit more.
Yeah. They
do great in some of the scenes. But others I feel like they could have worked a little bit more on.
Yeah, one thing... A few things with this movie that kind of hit me. I don't know if you got the same impression. First, the pacing, specifically in the beginning of the movie, seems rather rushed. And then the second half of the movie, once she gave in to Z and was like, "Oh, okay, I'll be with you," then that's when it really started to slow down.
Yeah.
And so I really didn't... just the pacing of the movie was very strange. And then also the scares... They did seem to make the creepy scenes pretty short rather than building up the tension. I did enjoy, like, for instance, whenever the father is like, "Oh, yeah, I've seen him." And they really did a good job with that scene, like, building it up. And then he ended up joking. But all of the other scenes, it's like, yeah, they did build up tension, but I didn't get that nerve-wracking, like, "Oh my god, I can't sit still in my seat" type of tension.
Yeah.
So the payoff was just kind of like, okay, like that was a freaky scene, but we can move on. It's not going to stick with me.
It was a short jolt.
Yeah.
In the gut.
Yeah.
Instead of the really drawn out and the panicky feeling after a really good scare.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was just a short little blip.
And it sucks because they really did do a pretty good job with the movie, and the actual scares themselves were pretty decent. It's not like they didn't know what they were doing. I just didn't get that, the length of the tension-filled scenes that I wanted, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. So I also kind of take off points because I feel like they really, I agree with you. The first part was rushed. I feel like, honestly, if they had drawn more tension into those and made them a little bit longer with each one of those, and then they could have, honestly, when they had her go to the house after the husband had died, and she was standing in the room saying, "Imagine Z," and the light goes out and you see the eyes in the hallway, they could have cut and left it at that, and that would have been a really creepy ending.
Yeah, that's what I thought they were going to end the movie there, and then I'm like, oh, we still have like a lot longer.
That's why I moved the mouse to make the time come up to kind of show you, because honestly, like, I was checking for myself too. The first part did seem kind of rushed, and that point was about 58 minutes in. And really, if they had lengthened the other parts and even added a couple others here and there, like showed his progression of the behavior issues and everything, then they could have made that the movie.
Yeah.
Instead, or even going into some of the detail with her parents, because they alluded to the mom and said that, you know, she was a horrible person, that kind of thing, even though the eldest daughter was taking care of her, the main character was taking care of her, and the sister just couldn't bring herself to go see her and felt bad about it after she died and all. They didn't really say why she was a bad person. What made her a horrible mom or anything.
Yeah.
And they barely even mention the dad.
Yeah.
You see him in the tape a little bit, that she watches and then burns. And they mention, or the doctor at one point mentioned he didn't realize the reason that she stopped coming was because of the horrible incident that occurred. They didn't even say the incident. You find out later that he hung himself, or Z hung him, we guess.
Yeah.
We don't know if he hung himself just not being able to deal with everything going on, or if Z did it and made it look like a suicide. We have no idea.
Yeah.
They were a little vague on that. I also take off points for the massive lack of communication between the husband and the wife. Like, I get that that's actually fairly accurate in some situations and all in some families, but so many things could have been avoided and dealt with if they talked to each other about the things that were happening.
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything you're saying. And I guess one thing that I wish happened more from the movie is I felt they introduced Z extremely quickly in the beginning. Like, especially since it's about a family and the turmoil that they're going through, I would have thought it'd be more appropriate to kind of set up their dynamic a little bit better. Like, show how well behaved the kid was and, you know, how he had lots of friends. Because later in the movie, she's calling all of his classmates and none of them want to hang out. But it's like, we never established that he was friends with them. We just have to believe the mother. So it's like, if they established it a little bit better, and then we could tell a lot more of how much Z was affecting the kid, or what Z was doing.
The way they introduce everything, it makes the kid seem like almost a loner right off the bat. Yeah. Because, he carpools with this other mom and kid, but, I mean, that could be their neighbor for all they know. Like, exactly. It could just be legitimately a carpool thing, and that's about it. They don't really hang out at school. They're not really friends or anything. They're just car buddies, basically. Yeah. So they don't really delve into that much, or see the dynamic between the two. That would actually make the scene a little bit scarier and that much more gut-wrenching. Whenever you see the kid fall from the second floor. I know my stomach just dropped regardless, because there was a child, they just fell, and I was watching your face because I knew what would happen too. And just to see your face at that scene, I was like, there it is. That's what I was waiting for.
But yeah, it's like they definitely had the right idea, but there are just some things that I felt like could have had a lot better payoff. And I do like that they kind of changed up the formula, because as you said, they could have easily just had the movie focus on the family inside the house and then cut off with the mother giving herself to Z. Like, I think that would have been an awesome movie, especially if they expanded, just as we talked about before. But I do find it refreshing that they didn't necessarily follow that cookie cutter formula. Yeah. And they're like, oh, well, let's show what it looks like if she, you know, when she gives into this demon or whatever it was. But it's like, I feel like they were really working up to it. And so whenever they got to it, they gave way too much detail, which is what made it seem so slow. It's like, it should have been a lot less of a percentage of the movie. So it's like, if you want to be different, but you need to put your foundation first and then play around with the formula.
I mean, I kind of see how they could use it as a plot device almost, or storytelling device, because when she truly gives up and goes to that house to be with Z, basically to save her kid, her life basically comes to a halt.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes sense that part would be a little bit slower paced, and she is trapped in there with him, basically, and it's a highly abusive relationship. Highly abusive. Quote unquote imaginary friend.
Yeah.
But, so I can kind of see where they were coming from with that, but I feel like it would have been better if they did it the other way, personally.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I guess one thing to think about is, like, the tone of the movie, they kind of switched up. Like, the beginning of it, they set it up very much like your typical scary movie. And that's why it totally makes sense if they cut off with just seeing the glowing eyes after the mother gives herself to it, then that would have been a good movie. But because there's this tonal switch of almost like her examining her life, her kind of like reliving some of the trauma, also being abused by this creature, it almost feels like a different movie.
Yeah. It does feel like a sequel and the original kind of squished together.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And we could have done without the sequel part.
Yeah. So, yeah, and honestly, if they did want to have that, like I said, I just think that it could have been better if they expanded on the first half, and then the second half, you know, if you want to show what it looks like whenever she gave into Z, that's fine. But shift the tone to where it matches the first half of the movie. Like, do it to where she gives in, but you see her constantly trying to, like, fight him back or something. Like, whenever she calls the sister, like, that was a good, intense scene. It's like they could have gotten it, they could have really just cut off some of the scenes beforehand and then just had that last half. That would have helped match the first half and the second half a lot better.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't have anything left, I think, for entertainment.
Not for entertainment. Most of what I have is for realism. I will say they did a nice job with a couple of things real quick. With the doctor, just making a couple of small comments that some people might not catch at first. When they first take Josh to him to see him, he does say to Beth, "It's nice to see you again, Beth." And not a whole lot of people would catch on the again. And
or like the kid saying Z, and then the doctor's like, "What?"
Yes, his face after.
Yeah.
When he looks kind of spooked, like, "Wait a minute, what?"
Yeah.
Which you think that would have come up in the session, but okay.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So that's yeah.
It was kind of interesting.
Yeah, like honestly, they did try, and there was some really good aspects, but there's just, I was wanting more, and I just didn't get it, and with those disconnections, and but anyways, realism. All right, I don't have a lot to say on realism that I can think of offhand, but I would probably give it like a 4. I think you would give it a lot lower, I guess. A 2. Okay,
I would give it a 2.
I need to know why.
I would give it a 2. First off, the lack of communication. At some point, both the parents are gonna know about things going on. Regardless, she is shown as a stay-at-home mom. So why was the school calling the dad and having the dad sign the things. Wouldn't they call the house? If she's the one taking care of him most of the time, why wouldn't they call or contact her first? That doesn't make sense. And after so many infractions like that, they would have sent him to the principal's office or called a parent-teacher conference, like an emergency meeting. Let's talk kind of thing. And they would have contacted most likely both of them.
Yeah.
To try to get both of them into the situation, get everyone on the same page and talk about, we have seen this. Is he acting like this at home?
Yeah.
If not, then something's going on where he's acting out in the class, so we need to figure out something because this ain't working.
Mm-hmm.
They would have contacted them for a parent-teacher conference first, and then principal. And then he would have been likely suspended for a shorter amount of time first, maybe detentions here and there, which I feel like she would have noticed.
Mm-hmm.
And then it would have been suspension indefinitely until things were sorted out and figured out.
Yeah.
But it would have progressed. It wouldn't have been just straight up suspended indefinitely kind of thing.
But that just goes with like how much they rushed the beginning. Like if they did take the time to set it up, then they would have had time to show that. But no, I completely agree. Whenever that scene popped up, it did feel super sudden. And then, of course, she showed like all of the infractions or whatever that he had. And I was just like, why wouldn't she have known? Like, even
exactly.
Like, especially since she's a stay-at-home mom, I'm sure she sees her kid whenever he gets home from school, like in his backpack. It's like there would have been a note or, yeah.
And the mom that he carpools with, when they're at her house, she was saying, my kid was telling me about all these things. I was getting concerned.
Yeah, why
I have to look out for my son. They didn't talk at all.
That doesn't make any
about
sense.
Anything that her son was telling her. I can understand at the beginning, kids will be kids and they say weird things sometimes here and there. They might have just, heard something that kind of spooked them or whatever, or saw something that they didn't understand. Okay, fine. Or they kind of made it up one or two times. Okay, fine. But if he's continuously telling you these things and he is genuinely scared of him, then talk.
Yeah.
Because she just stopped showing up. She didn't call the mom and say, hey, we're not doing the carpool thing anymore. Nothing. She just straight up ghosted.
Yeah.
And the mom was asking Josh, did Daniel say anything about them not showing up or anything? What happened? Is there something going on? And the kid was just quiet. So why didn't they talk and see what was going on there?
Yeah.
And then she finds out that he's suspended indefinitely, and they go through that whole thing. There's just no communication there.
Yeah.
And then she starts seeing things herself and asks the doctor to see her for a session, which she got in like that night. Little weird.
Well, I think it in cases where it's like almost an emergency, because he could tell something was really wrong. I think that psychologist, I've never had to have an emergency session with a psychologist, but I have heard of instances where if a person is high risk, that they are at least at minimum able to call their therapist. So I would imagine that he has time blocked off or enough, or he's still at the office to where he felt.
It sounded like she woke him up though.
Oh, I don't know. Either way, if he felt that she was high risk, I don't think it's completely out of the realm of realism for him to be able to do that.
Yeah, but usually, they would at least do like a video chat or something. I feel like her going to the place was more a plot device than anything, so that she could be out of the house and come back to it on fire. But
I do agree.
Because I feel like that kind of thing could have been said in a video chat easily, or over the phone. They were already talking over the phone.
Yep.
And all of that information he could have just given her over the phone.
Yeah, and if anything...
That you were my patient previously.
Yeah.
He was very destructive, very abusive. He was dangerous. And then you stopped showing up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess the only loophole is, if he had asked her in the movie, which he doesn't, is like, are you in a safe place where you can talk to me? And if she said no, then he could have been like, are you able to come to my office? And see, that would have fixed that issue right there.
Yeah.
If she didn't feel like it was safe because, the imaginary friend was there.
That's true, but at least put it in.
Yep.
Because otherwise, just bam, there.
Yep. No, I totally agree.
Yeah.
It's just like there's little tweaks in this movie that would just
small
would make it.
Things.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I feel like if you're very, very scared of things going on and you're seeing weird things and all, and the kid's toy is telling you imagine Z and all. Okay, one, the toy would have the batteries ripped out with extreme prejudice. The thing would be smashed to bits, and then it would find itself in a dumpster probably a next town or two over. So, no. Also, if you're actually going to do the thing, which is a bad idea, then don't do it in the bathtub, surrounded by like 50 candles.
Completely naked and vulnerable.
That is second only to the toilet. Like, why?
Yeah.
Would you pick one of the most vulnerable ways ever to imagine the thing that you're terrified of and that's clearly dangerous?
Yeah.
And having a really bad influence on your kid.
Well, plus it would have been, since she obviously thinks it's something, it would have been a good opportunity for her to like contact a psychic or someone that's, well versed in that type of summoning things. So that way she's not accidentally putting her and her family in danger.
Or do it when the husband's in the room.
Yeah.
Have a witness.
Yeah. Because that way she can know whether or not she's going crazy, because if he sees it too.
Or, I mean, even if he didn't see Z, then he could tell that weird stuff was happening with all the 50 candles around her. Some of them blowing, around the flame is flickering and kind of moving like there's wind, and then others are blowing out. Like,
yeah,
weird things be happening here. Have a witness. Yeah. And then when the kid falls from the second floor and hits his head on the banister and falls even further, I feel like there'd be an investigation.
Yeah, like the kid...
There was an ambulance, but there were no cops.
He had no repercussions, it seemed like.
None.
Like, if I was the mother of that child, I would have... I mean, I don't believe in hitting children or spanking them, but I would at least be screaming at the minimum, which isn't a good thing, but it's like, if you're high in the emotion of the moment, it's like, yeah.
Honestly, I would have gone into mama bear mode. First off, my kid needs to be safe, so ambulance is a must. Second, those two kids were the only ones up there. Like, it was just the kid and the mom in the house when the main character, Beth, and her son Josh came over.
Yeah. So it's like either the kid jumped off of the banister or he was pushed.
Yeah. And she knows her kid is not likely to do that, but she had been told by her kid that the other kid was doing all these weird things. He was exhibiting very bad behavior, and her kid was scared of him.
Yeah.
For a reason. And then he ends up at the bottom of the stairs. No, there would be charges. There'd be charges. Yeah. At the very least, there'd be an investigation, some kind of restraining order, maybe. Something.
Yeah.
Now, the parents, the main parents, did contact the family, which I also thought was give them some space, but I understand it. And they did say, anything you need, just let us know, and all. They felt horrible, which I get. But I still feel like there would have been, at minimum, an investigation into all of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like there also was nothing mentioned about the fire afterwards. No investigation into the fire was mentioned. Mm-hmm. Nothing about his death, just Sorry for your loss. He did.
Yeah, it's strange. It's like first with the kid scene off of the banister, and then with the fire. It's like both of those are very significant, powerful scenes. But once it's over, it's over. They just move on. It's like, okay.
It's a thing that happened.
Yeah, yeah. Part of the pacing.
Don't nobody care. And when she's running into the house and all, when she sees the husband, he is pretty torn up. Mm-hmm. Blood everywhere, torn up, and on the wall says "Playtime with Z everywhere." If none of that was intact at all, okay, maybe. But I feel like an autopsy would also likely have been done on the husband in that situation, just for safety's sake. And they can usually tell that the cause of death wasn't by fire, like breathing in smoke or anything.
Yeah.
And if they can't necessarily tell what exactly the cause of death was, then there would have been a larger investigation into their lives and everything to see what all was going on.
Well, plus, like, Beth, maybe you got a different impression, but she really didn't seem that broken up that her husband got murdered by her son's imaginary friend. Like, she just kind of looked and she's like, oh my God. But then it just like switched over to her trying to rescue her son.
Well, I think some of that was the shock. And also she was really trying to get to her son. She was worried about her kid who was still alive. She could still hear him.
Yeah. But even after that scene, though, it's just, she just kind of forgot he existed. A
little bit. Yeah. She was still worried about her kid, but she didn't, you're right, she didn't really seem that broken up about her husband. I feel kind of bad for the guy.
I know. He was trying to be the logical one and trying to keep the family together. I mean, I don't agree that he hid stuff from her, but I mean, she hid stuff from him too.
Doesn't make it right on either side. But,
but it wasn't fair for him to go like that.
Yeah, that was kind of bad. But you would think that at some point they would really start hearing about the behavior issues and everything and start seeing if maybe it was possible, even if they did think the cause of death was the fire for the dad, to see if maybe the kid had started it somehow.
Yeah, especially
and
since
if there was evidence of it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then the incident with the other kid. So, I mean, after that many things, they would at least have requested for him to be seen by someone, probably in some kind of institution type setting. Not just, y'all have suffered a loss, but you're out on your own. Good luck, bye.
Yeah.
And then she drops him into the aunt's lap, basically, and is like, keep an eye on him, bye. And then pieces out to the mom's house.
Yeah.
To be with Z. So.
Yeah, the kid really didn't have many consequences. Pretty much no consequences for all of the stuff. It's like, it doesn't matter whether or not Z caused it. It's like, that's not going to change real life from working.
Yeah, exactly. So there wasn't really anything done there. And then I could see the doctor making like a house call. He's concerned with everything that happened. He goes and checks on Beth at the mom's house and notices some weird stuff. And then he comes back with police for like a wellness check and to most likely kind of take her and get her evaluated in an institution or something, because she doesn't seem well and she doesn't seem safe there. And she does seem very scared. So something's off. And that's probably one of the reasons why he probably did tell the officers, she seems scared. Like something's going on. I don't know if it's just her. He did hear footsteps and stuff in the background when he was talking to her at the door. So he probably thought there might have been someone else there. And that's probably why they drew their guns later on. But they don't mention it at all.
Yeah.
So it just kind of looks like, they're going there for a wellness check. Yeah. And then they're like pulling their guns for her.
It's like, this is why you guys have a bad reputation.
Oh man, like this is bad. Like I don't feel like it's very accurate. And I mean, the way I kind of interpreted it, it would make sense, but again, show it. Show them kind of discussing it, or him making a call outside the house or something. You know, I need uniforms here. I feel like there's more than one person in this house. She seems very frightened, very scared. She's not well. I need help.
Yeah, like specifically that scene, it did seem pretty extreme for the cops to have their guns drawn. But if they would have established that, I mean, it would have been a 2-second scene where it's like, I heard footsteps. I think she might be, being held hostage, essentially. Mm-hmm. Then they would have reason.
Yeah, or if she was carrying something that looked like a weapon, okay, maybe. I still feel like they would have had their, nightsticks or a taser at most out instead. But,
There's something I do want to know, and anyone that knows this, please comment or message us. If the police are called for someone who is erratic and has the potential of like committing suicide or having some sort of they're not they don't seem completely lucid, I guess. Like, is it normal to have your guns drawn so that way if they try and hurt themselves, you can tell them to like put down the weapon? I honestly don't know.
I feel like it would be worse in the situation.
Yeah.
But I know it depends on the situation too. Every situation is different. But in this particular instance, I feel like it was a little extreme.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially,
and I know it's very dynamic. Yeah. Just movie-wise, it's very dynamic and all, and it's very powerful, but a bit extreme.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. But those are the main reasons I give it a 2. Oh, and the train. When the kid's on the track. I'm sorry, but he's a goner. He wasn't moving until the last second, and he somehow makes it.
Yeah.
And you were right. When she was running, I was thinking it the first time I watched it, too. We're like, she is not going to outrun a train.
Yeah. They go like 80 miles an hour.
It depends on the train. That one was definitely going slower.
Yeah. But
that's still several tons of metal hurtling towards you at the very minimum at 25 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Very minimum.
Yeah. I think humans on average, can't we like run like 10 miles an hour tops? Like if we're really hustling?
Women on average, the average like run/dog speed is about 6 miles per hour for running. Men is about 8.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
No. Damn you, biology.
Yeah. So, roughly a 7 for, average. 7 or so between men and women on rough average running speed.
Yeah.
You're not outrunning a train. It's not going to happen. That's why they say, like, get to the sides. And once you're on the sides, you're supposed to run the direction the train is coming from, if you've gotten out of car or whatever, if it's about to hit something on the track, just so you can keep free of any debris. But that kid would be blood smear. He would be a bug on a windshield. Like, kid dead. And I'm sorry, but the mom, like, hanging herself to try to get rid of Z is not going to change that. Supposedly it did. And you do see in the next scene, he's sitting at the table eating a meal with her across the table from him. And then the sister comes in to feed the mom. Because she's, like, one step up from a vegetable.
Yeah.
So.
Which, honestly, yeah, that'd be a terrible existence.
It would be. I feel like that would honestly be almost a little bit worse, especially for the kid, to see his mom like that.
Well, and plus, I mean, of course, if you're brain dead enough, you probably wouldn't have the consciousness to know this. But it's like, if she is conscious enough to know what happened, and being trapped in your body, that would be a nightmare in and of itself. Just horrible.
Yeah.
But, well, so this will be probably a pretty short section but so if we were in that situation and we had an imaginary friend Z that wanted to be with us forever and ever, well, I guess I'll start first because I feel like you might have a longer explanation. So for me, I would probably treat it very much like paranormal or demon and get like a psychic involved, also see a therapist. I would just cover my bases. I would go to every single specialist on every single level and see what can help. And especially since the psychologist told her that Z's in her head, it makes me wonder if she would have, because they obviously still had trauma from their childhood. Mm-hmm. Just the way that they spoke about their mother. And with the mom dying too. Yeah. So I feel like if she would have maybe addressed the trauma, that maybe Z was a manifestation of that trauma. I mean, they don't explain that at all. But, so it's just my hypothesis. But, I mean, it wouldn't have hurt. Well, hopefully not.
And you can just nix that off the list if it doesn't help. Like... Yeah, definitely cover all the bases, see someone first, and then also sage everywhere. Mm. Everywhere sage. More communication, for sure. Yeah. Sit down as a family and talk things out. Like, talk it out with your husband first, but then sit down as a family and discuss things. Even let the kid know, I had an imaginary friend named Z too when I was a kid. He was not a good friend. He was very, very bad. Yes. He tried to hurt others around me, and that's not okay.
Yeah, she never talks to him about that. And especially going back to the communication, like her giving medication to the kid without the husband's knowledge, that is a big cross of the boundaries. Like, that was completely unacceptable. Like, I understand where she's coming from, but what she did was not good or right at all.
Yeah, for sure. Again, and all of it comes back to communication. Yeah. Like, tell the husband, okay, he did this today. This is what I saw today. Oh, and this happened as well. And this, just keep like a log of everything. Yeah, document and then, okay, you know what? We've done this. We've tried this. This isn't working. We're doing this. Yeah. Yeah. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But we're trying it.
Yeah, like have a compromise. Like, okay, you want to try this, that's fine. But if that doesn't work, then we're doing it my way. And see if that works.
Yeah. And be very clear. It doesn't have to be a forever thing. We just want to get him over this part. Yeah. And see if it helps. If it does, great. We can kind of back him off it a little bit, see if that's okay still, and then eventually, like, wean him off it completely if he still holds a decent, stable mental state. Yeah. But if it's not working, okay, let's try something else. Yeah. But you gotta try different things. And you gotta talk to your spouse. Yeah. Especially. And then to your kid, just have a family meeting. Because clearly something's not going okay. Something's not working. Yeah. And it needs to be addressed and dealt with. Yep. And then if I'm seeing, toys activating on their own and all. One, the toys are going. Toys are gone. They're gone. For sure. And... Bye. And, we are speaking to multiple professionals just in a mental capacity and metaphysical capacity because something's gotta change. Something's gone. Something's not working. Yeah. And if it's me, then lock me up so that I don't hurt anyone that I care about. Or if it's attached to me, I don't want it anywhere near my family. Yeah. Until this is resolved.
Yeah. Yeah. But like overall, it is a decent movie, and I think it's worth at least one watch. But some of the disconnection between the first and second half and some of the communication problems, and there's a few things that make me probably not want to watch it again. But I mean,
this was the second time. Yeah, this is the second time I've watched it. It was scarier the first time. Granted, I was alone in a very, very dark room late at night. So, you know, it kind of loses a bit of its effect when
we need to buy blackout curtains.
When it's brighter out and all, and you're watching it with someone, it's not as scary.
Yeah,
but it's still worth a watch.
Yeah. Yep.
So make it dark and spoopy.
Yes, make it dark and spoopy. Squeeze as much scare as you can out of it.
They don't build the tension very well, so, I mean, get what you can out of it. Yep. That's all I got.
Yeah, I don't have anything either, so.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next time. At V, we are getting to Evil Dead, I swear. We've had a lot more technical difficulties than we said before, but we're getting to it. We're going to make it work. So we will see you guys next time. And until then, stay safe and stay spoopy.
Bye.
Bye, guys.